The legend of the Red Flower Society tells that it was founded by descendants of the Ming dynasty, with the first chief leader being a man surnamed Zhu, whose sole mission was to overthrow the Qing and restore the Ming. That day marked Wen Tailai's initiation into the society, the most memorable day of his life. The Red Flower Society had strict rules, and on his joining day, he had to pass layers of trials before finally becoming the fourth leader. A few years later, the old chief leader suddenly passed away, and before any new appointment could be made, the Qing court unexpectedly destroyed many of the society's branches, leaving Chen Jialuo's headquarters as the last. That day, Wen tied a strip of white cloth around his forehead as mourning attire. His martial skills ranked among the top of the dozen leaders, and he was well trusted by his brothers. The men in black could gain no advantage over him. Suddenly, a giant wolf attacked, knocking Wen to the ground right inside the house. He feared neither the beast nor its ferocity, steadied his stance, and launched a fierce punch. The wielder of the crimson-bladed saber turned out to be the woman who had just been playing the flute on the rooftop. Out of nowhere, another man in black appeared, armed with iron claws, clearly no simple opponent. That night, Wen fought them for a long time, but no one knew how it ended. Rumor had it that the fourth leader of the Red Flower Society had vanished, and all its branches had been wiped out. The sword, bright moon, no strife, double-edged yet void of the killing intent of lesser men, was passed down to the last disciple of the Tianshan elder upon his graduation. When parting, the elder told him that his adoptive father had passed away. Before Lin Zhang left, he transferred the position of chief leader of the Red Flower Society to him. The sword, no strife, was clearly meant to remind him not to be arrogant or combative in the martial world. The society's headquarters lay abandoned, and Chen Jialuo, heart heavy with grief, resolved to uncover what had happened. He had to go to Shisanhuang, for besides its trade in assassination, it was also a place where all kinds of information could be bought. Two gentlemen, here to buy information or hire a killing? The shopkeeper asked. News about the Red Flower Society, 500 taels. The young man, He Buyaoqian, was startled when he heard of Huan Xiang, a famous widow of Shisanhuang in Jiangnan. It was said that any man she fancied ended up hung on her wall. He was even more surprised when the golden shopkeeper recognized him. Clearly, something suspicious was at play. Two men upstairs, one tall and one short, declared they had come for a bounty of 100,000 taels. It turned out that Chen Jialuo was already wanted by the imperial court. Barely setting foot in the martial world, he had become its #1 fugitive, perhaps a record in itself. First to fight were the tall and short pair. A beggar suddenly warned him, making him realize he had misjudged. The tall one grabbed the short one and charged, pummeling him wildly. But to Chen Jialuo, they were nothing more than clowns. The second opponent to step forward was Old Jin, whose weapon was an enormous abacus. He rattled it for a while. Chen Jialuo had no idea what it meant until the abacus was smashed apart. After winning 2 out of 3 bouts, Chen Jialuo thought he could leave. Unexpectedly, everyone around stood up, 5 men attacking together. In the end, he and his companion were hurled backward into the street. Just as they were surrounded, the beggar suddenly tossed a smoke bomb, giving them the chance to escape. When Chen and his companion Xu Tong leapt into a courtyard, they realized the scenery here was entirely different. The beggar turned out to be a woman in disguise. While they were still bewildered, Old Bao's voice sounded from outside, announcing that it was almost Ruyi's turn. The two went out and encountered Tui Ba, who said this was the 100 Flowers Pavilion in Hangzhou, and tonight was the full moon night of the courtesan queen. Whether they wished it or not, they were each given an outfit and a token. The crowd of men all shouted, "Yu Ruyi," in unison. The screen on stage was drawn back, and Yu Ruyi finally appeared before them, moving like a red butterfly dancing gracefully behind the misty screen. It was said that the South was home to beauties, yet this beauty drifted amidst the dust of the world, dancing in the raucous clamor of the marketplace. With just a snap of her fingers, tonight's winner was decided. Xu Tong looked at Chen Jialuo's token. Such dreadful luck was beyond description. Chen Jialuo, still dazed, was pushed upstairs where Yu Ruyi waited on the bed. He had many questions, but she told him some things could only be discussed in bed. She had no choice, for they say a beauty's favor is the hardest debt to repay. Yu Rui held much information, including how the Red Flower Society's spies had been rooted out. She even knew a bit about the attack on the headquarters and Wen Tailai's disappearance, claiming he had been captured. The two wrestled on the bed for a long time. Yu Rui's martial arts were far from ordinary. Chen Jialuo seemed unable to restrain her, but the information she held was far more important. Yet even she didn't know who the mastermind was. Chen Jialuo wondered why she was revealing so much. Yu Rui explained that the society had a treasure, the fortune of Prince Fu of the Ming. After the society rose in rebellion, it remained in their possession. But the treasure's location was known only to the chief leader. Her motive was simple. She would help him rescue Wen Tailai, but in exchange, Chen Jialuo must give her half the treasure. Her method was straightforward. She had a regular client who was an official in the Ministry of Justice. This man often came here to drink, considering himself a scholar. That night, she would help Chen Jialuo befriend him. Once he was drunk, wouldn't the information about Wen Tailai be easy to obtain? Thanks to Yu Rui's arrangements, the two men hit it off instantly. She had even prepared a note listing every item's background from that day, so Chen could respond fluently. Old Jin saw that his comrade was indeed impressive. They talked from Jade Lake Village to West Lake's lotus flowers, from a stall in a back alley to stinky tofu. And in the end, the only result was that they drank 3 more cups. The medicine master suggested, how about we play a drinking game? He wanted the woman to stand aside, claiming her presence affected their drinking speed, and urged everyone to share the cup together. Their conversation wandered from the martial world to the imperial court, from corrupt officials to the Red Flower Society, from commoners to the emperor, from rivers and mountains to the nation's fate, leaving them with the feeling that they regretted not meeting earlier. After 3 more rounds of wine, they swore brotherhood. Male friendship was often simple, but Chen Jialuo quickly realized this man was honest and easy to coax information from, especially about Wen Tailai. That night, the elder slept in Yu Rui's room. Meanwhile, the former Ministry of Punishments officer, Shi Lan, finally returned to his office for overtime work. Yet his fan no longer danced as deftly as before, and even a dog barking outside made him tremble. His first action upon entering was to rescue the ministry's documents, but they were suddenly ambushed. The figure seemed female, her martial arts outstanding, her strikes crisp and decisive. It turned out the assailant was Luo Bing, not only the 11th leader of the Red Flower Society, but also Wen Tailai's wife. The other 2 with her were the 3rd and 15th leaders. Zhao Banshan also found the entrance to a hidden tunnel. Inside was vast. He told them those imprisoned there were all gallant heroes of the martial world, yet their eyes had been gouged out and their tongues cut. Their hearing, however, was razor sharp. Chen Jialuo warned everyone not to make a sound. But then came the problem. Would suddenly asking for a follow cause a loud noise? Shu Tong's spicy 5-spice snack utterly ruined their plan. During the ensuing chaos, Yu Rui suddenly scattered a handful of medicinal powder. Lao Bing glanced at her and realized something, but she said nothing and walked deeper into the cave, because a man was waiting for her there. Only then did Zhao Banshan discover the man was actually Zheng Zhuzhong in disguise. Zhao urged everyone to leave quickly while he stayed to block Zheng. As they reached the exit, they were stopped. Zhao began a solo fight inside. Just as he was about to be killed, Chen Jialuo rushed out. Zheng Zhuzhong was beaten badly and fled. Zhao led Chen to another of their bases, White Cloud Stronghold, the 15th leader's territory. Because he had once saved Wen Tailai's life, he was supposedly trustworthy. Upon arrival, they saw Luo Bing and Yu Rui fighting. Luo accused Yu of being a disciple of the Heavy Valley sect, which had surrendered to the court and whose master had been killed by the old chief. Yu denied it and refused to explain. When 2 women truly fell out, the battle was fierce. From Yu's body fell a copper token, once belonging to the former 4th leader. Years ago, the Liang family had been massacred, and Yu Rui was the sole survivor. Zhao Banshan felt guilty for failing to rescue them in time. Yu's mood was grim. She blamed the Red Flower Society for not helping back then. Zhao didn't explain, thinking the past was gone, and finding her was already a kind of fortune. That day, they held a lunch banquet for Chen Jialuo, drinking heavily. The 15th leader, drunk, defended Wen Tailai's right to succeed as chief, especially since Chen was just a newcomer. Suddenly, everyone collapsed. The 15th leader had laced the wine with a paralytic. He admitted to betraying Wen Tailai and personally eliminating the society's spies. His reason was that with the old chief dead, the Red Flower Society was doomed, and killing them might buy him a better future. Chen's deep inner strength let him suppress the poison temporarily. He ordered Shu Tong to lead everyone to safety while he stayed, because Yu Rui was waiting for his protection. Reciting the society's rules in his mind, he felt the poison overpowering him. Carrying Yu, he told her he would take her away even if it killed him. Suddenly, the black and whites appeared, and they were saved. Initially, they intended to kill the 15th leader, but he revealed Wen Tailai's whereabouts. When Chen awoke, he was in a village. Yu dressed like a refined young lady. This was the place her father had once brought her to escape trouble. It was safe, and Wen Tailai had been rescued, though still unconscious. That night, Yu sat with Chen on the roof, confiding her lifelong nightmare. She asked why he had risked his life to save her. He said perhaps it was instinct, and admitted he didn't know where the treasure was. "Young Master Chen," she teased, "don't you dare go back on your word. For a woman with no sense of security, the most important thing is money. Money, you hear? If you don't give me the treasure, I'll cling to you forever. And if a man can carry me through life and death, I swear I'll marry him." The atmosphere that night was awkward, yet strangely harmonious. Finally, Wen Tailai awoke. Yu led him to the old chief's grave, telling him the chief had left him something, still kept at the Chen estate. A group entered. Only Wen and Chen went inside. In the box, they found a jade pendant, a piece of yellow cloth, and a letter. The letter's contents were astonishing. That year, the fathers of Jialei and Yongzheng also became acquainted. On the very night his son was born, he was summoned to the palace, but that child never came back out. Later, when Yongzheng ascended the throne, that son unexpectedly became today's Qianlong. The jade pendant was the empress's token from that year, and the yellow cloth was what had wrapped Qianlong when he entered the palace. Jialei finally understood. He and the emperor were in fact biological brothers. And the realm today was, in truth, already in the hands of the Han people. The so-called Prince Fu's treasure never existed. As he was pondering, sudden noises erupted outside. Jialei rushed out to see the courtyard full of men in black, and even Shi Wu had arrived on the scene. Jialei discovered that this man was not from the imperial court at all. He was loyal to Prince Li of the current dynasty. The prince didn't hide it, directly removing his mask. He told Jialei to hand over the token. Only then did Jialei realize that his identity as the emperor's younger brother had been discovered. But to ask him to hand it over was absolutely impossible. Even though the prince promised him wealth and high office, he still could not give it up. Moreover, it was clear this man intended to rebel. Rui suddenly drew her blade and slashed toward Jialei. Her swordsmanship was vicious and sinister. It was clear she was the woman who had stood on the rooftop controlling the giant wolf earlier. In the end, she still betrayed the Red Flower Society. Jialei asked her why. Her reason was simple. Because that year, the Red Flower Society abandoned her father. Her only wish in life was to avenge him. To her, this was not betrayal. Wen Tailai looked up to see arrows like rain falling from the sky. The two people inside the house were also under attack. Jialei shoved Rui aside. He grabbed her hand and told her to follow him closely. The two rushed into the courtyard, where suddenly many imperial soldiers stormed in. The one leading them was none other than the reigning emperor Qianlong. Both Rui and Jialei recognized him. He was the Ministry of Justice official who had once played chess with him. It seemed everything had been in his hands all along. The first thing he did was arrest Prince Li on charges of colluding with the Red Flower Society. Jialei finally understood. Wen Tailai's situation had been deliberately revealed to him by the emperor, and Prince Li had also fallen into his trap. Rui took a blow from Shi Wu meant for him. Jialei panicked and held her in his arms. With her last strength, she told him the words she spoke that night about wanting to marry him were true. Outside, Jialei shouted loudly, "Kill them all!" At the emperor's order, the soldiers charged forward. Jialei never thought of escaping alone. He drew his sword and rushed in. When the emperor was captured, everyone stopped fighting. The emperor looked at him and said, "If you kill me, the realm will fall into chaos. That is not something you want to see." Jiale told him, "Give me one reason not to kill you." The emperor's reason was simple: because I am the emperor. He told Jiale of the hardships of being on the throne. In his eyes, both Manchu and Han were his subjects. In his view, there were not only rebels like the Red Flower Society, he had a vast empire to protect. He promised Jiale that in the years he had left, he would do his utmost for the nation, so that Han and Manchu could truly stand as equals. He could let them go, but on one condition. From now on, the Red Flower Society must never enter the Central Plains again. All the brothers opposed it, but Chen Jiale agreed. Perhaps in his heart, he thought not only of his brothers, perhaps he had truly listened to his elder brother's words. He held Rui's now cold body, yet still felt her warmth in his arms. At the door, he looked at the emperor, then turned and walked away without looking back. The road of the Jianghu was still long. He suddenly felt uncertain. How much longer could the path of overthrow the Qing, restore the Ming be walked? Was it even necessary to continue? But some things were not his to decide. He could not stop. His brothers asked him, "Where should we go now?" He answered, "I want to go west to Tianshan. I want to be a groom there because there is Princess Shangshang, because there is another Jianghu there. I've come only to tell you, don't forget your promise." The film ends here. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to support me.